end of the presentation. How's that for time, John? Pretty good. 10 minutes. Questions?
How does it work?
Ask me this afternoon. If I come, I know how it works. What do you think?
What do I think?
It's flux, isn't it?
Yes.
If we had a piece of wire, well, if these two were close together, you would say, well, it's just a capacitor, which is a circuit element. What we've done is separated the plates of the capacitor. We say, wow, the energy flows. Anyway,
So how far apart have you had those and still have it work? You said you could be quite a ways away.
Mal has done it in his college in Germany, 150 meters. And I wasn't in. That's where they ran out of space. And they used the heating system, hot water pipes, instead of the dedicated wire.
Gotta get this straight. Now, you say the far hard disk is the transmitter and the other two are receivers?
Here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, what about the two balls?
They're a different frequency.
That's a different system altogether?
Yes. This flux is different from this flux.
Okay, okay.
And isn't that useful, right? That means we can have lots of these channels, and they can share the space. We do that with multiplexing, don't we?
Do they work the same? Both the different receivers?
Yeah, if you look at the waveforms, you'll see they are virtually identical. We didn't wind them exactly identical. Tried to. And you can think of a piece of wire connecting the three of them. If the receivers can hear each other, and if the transmitter can hear each of the receivers. So we've got a new physics here, which says flux flows through the atmosphere. Tesla said something fascinating. He said, I can't believe that electricity and magnetism are two separate things because they always act in concert. He said they're part of the same thing.
That's true.
Yeah, he called it electricity. It formed dielectricity and magnetism. Question?
Yeah. Sorry I missed the beginning of it, I'm not sure if you already said it. Does this work if you got the receiver underwater, or is it just in the air?
I believe it does work underwater. You could use it for submarine communication. It'll go through a rock. What dissipates an ordinary electromagnetic wave is the mechanism of shorting out the electric and the magnetic fields. Their energy is dissipated in heat. That's why a Faraday field works. But if you've got, if you're moving that way instead of this way, it changes everything.
You mentioned this little, almost an aside about Tesla in Buffalo with the motor and so on. You didn't actually say, you said he drove all around the city and in the country, but the energy source was not, it wasn't local, it was interplanetary, it was from the universe, it was
The ether.
from the ether.
It's coming from 1891, the AIEE lecture, 120 years ago. Didn't say again and again, the ether is the repository of infinite energy.
So we don't need the transmitter, we just need to set up what he set up there, and we've got electric vehicles running from
Okay.
the ether.
Okay. So a fascination of our open source project is, what if there isn't a reaction force between the load on the receiver and the transmitter?
Mhm.
In other words, what if the load on the receiver was fed by ether energy and didn't have to come from the transmitter? And we're seeing that. We haven't got a handle on it. That's why it needs to be an open source project with a bunch of engineers working on it. As engineers, we've been standing on the side saying, oh, those guys who don't understand that stuff, right?
It's a string theory, guys.
Yeah. I mean, this is us, right? We wear this shirt and we say, well, you're wasting your time with that stupid free energy stuff. But now we know that Maxwell's, oh, he's an approximation. he's got a 0. Maxwell enhanced ampere, Mile has enhanced.
So it's not that we're violating the conservation of energy, it's just that you're offering a way to access a different source of energy.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, we couldn't,
not even a different source, a different way of receiving energy.
yeah. And hasn't energy always been about equipment, right? Falling water is of no use until you make a paddle wheel, right? And you've got a line shaft, or maybe you can hook it to a turbine and turn on a generator. It's about equipment. The energy is free. You have to know that it's there. I mean, this is not palpable unless you look at a bumblebee. I mean, if you think about nature, energy is busting out all over where it shouldn't be. An example would be migratory birds that go possibly long distances over water and they don't stop. Well, they should dissipate all the caloric energy in their bodies and fall into the ocean as feathers. They don't. So what are they harvesting? Photosynthesis is every living plant, in fact, harvesting energy from the earth. Does nature use it all the time? That's the suggestion.
Can you turn on the fan and then move it to the other table so we can see that it doesn't slow down with distance?
Let me try that. I think I've got some interference from these other devices. The environment is in some ways compromised. I have done this in my lab at home. I've been able to move 30 feet in this environment for whatever reason.
Oh, come on, the batteries in the fan
Yeah, exactly. Okay. This is a demonstration effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never listened to
Yeah. And I've got a loose connector here on the back of my vacuum tube generator. But the answer is yes, that, well, John, would you be happy if you knew that it was not an inverse R squared?
Yes.
Because that's the expectation, and that's what near field is.
What? Damn.
it. So turn on the wire.
There's no dissipation. The flux is following, it's finding its brother resonant circuit.
Started to sound like chakras and the 7 chakras. And these been very much the same thing, the vortices of
Yeah.
chakras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I am sure there's lots of people that are gonna wanna come up and hover around this. So I will give you our speaker certificate of thanks. I invite people to go back, get another cup of coffee, and then descend like a horned locust on this equipment.
Do you mind doing that presentation? I was sort of asleep at the switch. Just pretend you've never done this before. There we go. Thank you.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
You disconnected the reference line and replaced the ball with the dynamo.
this thought is that a center fed dipole is creating near field. This is what gives rise to the transmission. It's just that it's please come up and look at the waveforms.
I can't hold it.
Transformer and receiver, right, and that's a function of the number of coils, basically. These, I tried to make them.
Okay, so it's a, from a manufacturing.
It's easy to make a circuit board. But you have to make some better type of receiver.
What's on the bottom?
No kidding, no kidding, no kidding. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. What's the volt? Yeah.
3.2
All they said is insane. Yeah.
Tesla intended that. I wanted to feed loads anywhere on Earth with this short section. Have a look at the waveform of this baby. This is the fine frequency, here's the coarse. The yellow waveform is the source, the transmitter. Blue, violet, green is the short end. This is actually a near field probe. It's a short probe. So if you just try tuning, you'll see that